need to make sure that I thank Poets and Writers, because Poets and Writers has been funding First Tuesday since I first started hosting in 2012, and they have been very, very generous in which they do so. So John is asking, and some of you also, if you want to be able to chat to everybody, if you go down to where it says to, and if you see my name there or you see host, if you click on the arrow, you should be able to choose everyone from that list. Because I know there are some people who are able to chat, who are chatting and to be able to see everyone. So that's just John. Did you see it, John? Let me, hold on one second. If you go to the chat utility where you type the chat, instead of where it says to, click on, then, I'm sorry, John, if it doesn't work, that's not under my control. I don't have it set to private chat. Yeah, I don't have it set to private chat. That must be something on your machine. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so I want to, I want to thank Poets and Writers. I want to thank Dwayne and Ralph for coming to do this. It is not often that I get to introduce two featured readers who are both friends and colleagues. We all met teaching at Nassau Community College on Long Island. Dwayne and I still teach there. Ralph is relatively recently retired. And so it really is a pleasure for me to be able to do that. I'm going to introduce Dwayne, and then I will spotlight him, and then Dwayne, and you just got to wait a few seconds, Dwayne, for me to spotlight you and unmute you so you can start the reading, okay? So Dwayne Esposito, actually, let me put him up here so that you can all see him, and you know exactly who he is. There you are. So Dwayne Esposito is a professor of English at Nassau Community College. He has an MA from SUNY Brockport and an MFA from the University of Arizona. His work was selected by Diane Glancy for an Academy of American Poets Award, and his poems have been published in dozens of journals. His collections are The Book of Bubba, which was published by Brown Dog Press in 1988, Catalog Battleship, Declaration for Your Bones, which was published in 2012 by Uganda Press, and Dropping Death, which I'm assuming he's going to read some of tonight, which he wrote in collaboration with Ralph Nazareth, which is why they're reading together, which was published in 2018 by Uganda Press. He lives on Long Island on Lopsided Farm with his wife, daughter, son, and many animals. And let me unmute Dwayne. And hold on, Dwayne, you're still muted. Dwayne, yeah, now, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep. Welcome, Dwayne Esposito, to First Tuesdays.
Well, thank you all. Thank you all for attending. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you to Richard for arranging this. It's my honor to be here, especially beside Ralph, who is a writer I respect greatly. I have to tell you that I had intended going into this to try to say something about the breakdown, the civil unrest, the tragedy, the violence in America, the crises around the world. But the truth is, I'm too uneven to be coherent about it. James Baldwin writes in his short story, Sonny's Blues, that deep water and drowning are not the same thing. But of course, this implies that we are able to swim in those waters. And I'm fairly adept at swimming in deep waters, as I think, or I hope you'll hear in my poetry tonight. But in these waters right now, I am not swimming. I am drowning. I am emotional. I cannot find coherence. And so all I can say about it is that. And my goal tonight is to focus on my poetic vision in the limited time that I have to do so. So I'm going to let my poetry speak for itself and not say too much. I'm going to read you a couple of poems from my collection, Declaration for Your Bones, which was published by Uganda Press in 2012. And then I will read my long poem, which is my contribution to the collaborative work that I did with Ralph Nazareth, titled Dropping Death. When I get to that one, I'll speak a little bit about it. I'm just going to let my poetry speak for itself, and here it goes. This is a poem from Declaration for Your Bones, and it's titled, Here Are the Days. Here's this memory, the age of 8. I nearly died from an explosion in my brain. When does a lifetime begin to speak? Here's this memory, the age of 15. I walked across the LIE stoned on Quaaludes. There goes September and the sky. Here's this memory, the age of 17. My parents are divorced. My childhood dog is dead. My mother's boyfriend buys the family a new dog. And this one. I give that miniature poodle a hit of white blotter acid. You see, I've refused to let anyone offer what I'm unwilling to take. These days, regardless of memory, God's a stillness in me. I haven't died. Faith's a still voice. I'm 45 and I fear death. This is not a memory. These are the days that will carry me toward dying. This poem is titled Once More in the White Caps of Pain. I suppose it's a poem about depression. Once more in the white caps of pain. So many others' loved ones are dead. Another famine, another poverty, another war. Here's the depraved body politic. Who else matters but ourselves, our own? Do I dare say human community, our family? And do I dare drink whiskey, smoke some weed, succumb to the numb stone general? I mean, each time I wake afraid. Reality, of course, isn't separate from pain, of doubting love, yours and mine, once more in the white caps of pain. There are the ordinary birds, and just as I watch them settle, sobering, they lift from branches higher than the mind that dreamed last night of mountains as places I could not go. Where now are the ordinary birds? And where's that one December hour we shared while standing in the warmest rain? Don't you see? Hope is our memory, and memory makes comfort in the end. What has God to do with me? And what happened to my grave concern for others? America's done. Again and again, draft after draft, I've tried to say a simple thing. I'm lonely and I'm tired of the pain. I'd like to go down to the edge of some dark water and walk until my face disappears into a sky without stars. I'm losing time and doubting love. This depression, yours and mine. This book Dropping Death is written in collaboration with Ralph. And as I said earlier, it's an honor for me to be beside his wonderful poetry. The poem I'm going to read, which is my contribution to this book, is titled These Trees. About 2 months after the completion of this book, I realized I'm not through writing this poem. And so I'm still writing it. And my hope is, well, what I will do, forget my hope, what I will do is it will become a full-length collection of poems, but it will be one poem written entirely in couplets. The title of the book at this point in time is The Little Distance Between Home and Grave. And that's where I'm headed with this poem, but it seems to me to have its place in this book beside Ralph's poems and the collaboration that these texts offer to one another. So I'm going to read it as it is here, because the writing I'm doing now, I'm sort of zeroing down and fattening out as I go and trying to figure out where this poem is headed as I'm going there. My goal as a writer is to follow words so life gets said. And this takes a long time, this reflection. It takes a lifetime. So I'm just simply along for the ride. Anyway, These Trees. It has 2 epigraphs, one by Rilke, which reads, "We arrange it, it decays. We arrange it again, and we decay." And then by William Stafford, who's far more pithy, he writes, "The big one waits." It's in 3 sections, and again, it's called These Trees. This will be my last poem for the evening, and I thank you all. 1. In the dream, I'm a boy who jumps stoned off a diving board with work boots on. Heart on a pool's bottom popped and flips into a quaalude colored sky. The ghosts in me, the wild in me, and I land face down on a concrete floor, smell winter rain, and then get up only to walk on a road without trees. On another road, close to where I walk, big oak trees, October, leaves quite golden, and as I walk toward these trees, are these trees dreams? Wasted and sad, I crunch acorns beneath my feet. Leaves sound like rain. I'm struck by fall and stop a while, touch with my palm some rough trunk bark. It's my son's chest. I feel his breath and fear he'll die. It seems these trees reveal my life. A boy who cries at night. He wants his father close, but his father is gone, so the boy will wait till morning to be part of daylight when again he's far from dreaming. The burden of his thoughts, the weight of loneliness. That boy who nearly dies in a coma, 1974, wakes paralyzed on his left side. And that same boy, 1976, with a fever, listening to Bowie's Diamond Dogs in the great room of a minister's home, kicks one balloon into the cool air. It is London. It is raining. Through one open window, a strange metallic smell. Then, in the dream, I'm a young man staring at a dark dog tattoo on my left forearm, which I got after reading Kafka's The Trial. JK is on trial, not knowing why he is on trial, and before assassins jam a dagger into his chest, he says, like a dog, "Then I know nature will fade from me." So I wake up. Don't you see? Nothing but nature survives. I crave the forest. I want to go there, to quiet and to solitude. What words cannot say is my love for this. May I believe the dream before my body gives way to death. 2. To begin beside a fire and end with a walk in the woods. Between the two is silence I seek within. Be far from distraction, closer to earth, closer to animals and land. A quarter acre, here I am, with the grace of these trees near me. To breathe on the earth and hold my family, it's these things that matter until the day I die. 3. Love is an oak tree's orange leaves in fall. It keeps the spring from digging in its fangs, the winter from becoming steel. It's a walk with you to Jane's Hill, past the muddied lake, beside Sweet Hollow, a winter afternoon fire in the backyard when the brazer's bed of coals burns red and silver caves inside wood and keeps me in whiskey and flame. It's the shaky bugs on oak trees, and it's the rainy breeze in this town that feels small, a home where grass grows shaggy in August. It's a nap in a chair while the chickens just beside me digging dirt and kids run from yard to yard at play and without time. It's a big storm arriving, lighting a mystical edge as the wind picks up and the sky goes dark. We coop the chickens, head inside to things nearby, the toys and crumbs and crafts and such, and I lie beside it all, rub my kids' bellies, tell them the story of Muck the turtle, his best kid friends riding on its back in a mountain lake. Love even gets me to paint the kids' rooms, which leaves me gassed. After one dream of God, I wake afraid of dying. A river, I'm up too far into some other country. Is it these papery words where I might find refuge? I mean, when we're dead, there's no reunion with the ones who ease through the years of pain as our lives get yellowed, accelerated time, the way the mind wires tighten unto themselves. I know where we go when we die. Nowhere. This muddles life, which isn't time, I think, but is here now, a sound within the wind as faint sun pales once more the end of day, and loves the beach and crash of waves on rocks on southern Oregon coast and redwood trees, these forests. When my time to die, that consciousness I can't recall arrives. Having said goodbye to the ones who are worth my saying goodbye to, impossibly hard to leave behind the things and people I love. Maybe I'll walk into the woods, far from home, weep for the mind, it goes away, and become dirt. To believe in that which God will do is to fear that nature will undo perception. Nothing's left. Don't you see? I've dreamed God loves trees, but chops them down, rips off skin on the palm of his hands and holds out his torn up palms for me to heal and asks for coffee. And I plead with God, but God kills anyway. I drink whiskey and smoke good weed, high, like kicking that balloon again into the cool air. So much since then. This day, there's a spring wind, shimmering tops of trees. It sways the branches, some words, a calling. Maybe love's a walk uphill into a forest beside a mountain creek where I, for a while, disappear. Long silence is coming. Thanks.
I like the metaphor of the trees. I took the trees like a metaphor.
That was real. You know, I read the book. I blurbed the book actually, and it was moving when I read it, but it was very moving to hear you read from it. So thank you. That was
Thank
lovely.
you.
Our next reader, I just have to find where he is. This is the thing of, there you are, Ralph. This is the thing about Zoom. Our next reader is Ralph Nazareth. And where is your bio, Ralph? He is a poet, teacher, and publisher. He was born and raised in Mangalore with a brief spell in Bombay. He got his PhD in English literature from the State University of New York at Stony Brook in 1974. After 40 years of teaching, he retired from academia in 2015. He is now in his second decade of volunteer teaching in maximum security prisons in New York State. And he has published 4 books of poetry, Dropping Death, the latest, in collaboration with Dwayne Esposito. Uganda Press, which published Dropping Death, is also Ralph's press. So, in addition, his writing has appeared in books, magazines, and journals in the US and abroad, including the award-winning collection Invisible, an anthology of contemporary South Asian American poetry. He has traveled the world to be in poetry festivals in Palestine, Ecuador, Colombia, and El Salvador. And he currently heads Grace Works, which is an international nonprofit charitable foundation. So Ralph, let me just take care of muting and unmuting. Why is it not letting me unmute you? There you go. Maybe you should. There you go.
Now.
There you go.
Am I on?
You are on.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much for doing this and bringing Dwayne and me together one more time. It's always very special to read with Dwayne. He draws me into deep waters and he makes me pay attention. And as you all know, you're all poets. It is a terrifying thing to pay attention. But it is also necessary, I suppose, if you have to be fully alive. So a special thanks to Dwayne and all of you. Some of you are connected to me as old friends, and I think one of my grandnieces is here, Joanne. Hello, Joanne. And several poets around this screen are in a poetry group that I've had the pleasure of leading or guiding for the last 15 years. Let me read a short passage from Dropping Death, just to sort of finish this work in tandem with Dwayne for this evening. And then I want to say a little more about the crisis that we are in. How often had I not thought that it was futile to talk about God? And just as often I'd be drawn into it, the ceaseless questioning and wonderment. I'd gone through the proofs and their refutations and consoled myself that minds far sharper than mine were out there worrying about these esoteric matters. Although intellectually inclined, I was not a trained philosopher. I'd held this to be a serious failing until my 30s. But now in my declining years, I felt that perhaps it was something of a blessing. Thanks to it, I was free of the nettles of metaphysical speculation and endless argument. There was a fresh dawn quality to my reflection, one that led to periodic, peaceful breathing rather than to constant troubled questioning. I felt God's presence in my heartbeat. Only I knew that the distance between beauty and terror was measured by the inexplicable fleeting blip in the workings of an involuntary muscle. And in that excruciating possibility, I found myself nailed to God in the web of my own making. That is from Dropping Death. Now, as for what all of us are going through, so that I don't, Dwayne mentioned something about not being able to be coherent yet. I'm pretty much in the same place. And so that I don't rant and rave and go off into rage and maybe start weeping in the face of what's happening around us, let me resort to two epigraphs, two very short poems by two Black poets. One of them happens to be Richard's former teacher, June Jordan. It's from a long poem called Poem About My Rights. I am not wrong. Wrong is not my name. My name is my own, my own, my own. And I can't tell you who the hell set things up like this, but I can tell you that from now on, my resistance, my simple and daily and nightly self-determination may very well cost you your life. That's June Jordan. And this is from the great Black radical poet Amiri Baraka. I've had the pleasure or the difficult experience of being with him, an extremely powerful, provocative poet. And this is his short poem called SOS. Calling Black people, calling all Black people, man, woman, child, wherever you are, calling you, urgent, come in. Black people, come in, wherever you are, urgent, calling you, calling all Black people, calling all Black people, come in. Black people, come on in. With that, let me read to you my poem. I'll start and end with this poem. You won't have a chance to interpose any comments, at least directly to me. But I know we all agree that bloodlust flows deep in the American psyche. But there's also so much extraordinary peace tending in this country. I'm a great admirer. And I hope that this poem that was written about 35 years ago brings together both the violence and the possibilities for peace among us. It's called Cities. My grandfather's village is now a city. My father's village is nearly a town and will soon turn into a city. My children's town will no doubt become a city. And when it does, it will be assumed into space. And there it will float alongside other villages and towns turned cities, peaceful and detached, turning slowly to the sun, then again slowly to the moon. And our children will take little spacewalks to visit one another, their relatives and forebears, and the darkness will heal behind them, or the leeward light fuse in their shimmering wake. And they'll talk about their own little pockets of weather and trace their genealogies on these islands in space and wonder how we could ever have been so hopeless, make the black predictions we were once so used to making. And we will also wonder at ourselves and fumbling for an answer, each backward in time. And the swelling glass of distance will shatter in our hands, and our memory will spill in every direction and be scattered like dead little suns in a shining blind web. And there won't be much left to chew on or wad into an egg, an eye, an earth with a familiar pulse, in a sack or a socket, in membranes of water and air. And we'll turn back to them and ask, children, what was it all about? Or admit, we have the facts, but have somehow lost the meaning. But look at our cities, they are rooted in rock like stakes driven into the earth, mired among the reeds like tall abandoned vessels. They aren't going anywhere if we can help it. We know it's not over until it's over. Our supreme fear is not yet a fact, not unless our imagination bolts away from its appointed places, forgetting we hold in our hands the tools for the making of memory, the keeping, the sharing, the nursing of memory. And we, the namers of names, will go about naming our world 1,000 times over so nothing will be forgotten. Stockpiles of names enough to keep us going until the end, when time breaks off like a rotten old branch and falls on a new and wide receiving earth. And everything will stand forth in its grossest of bodies, in the quiver of all its million nuances. And the naming will take ages of days and ages of nights, until we'll have named the very neurons that move our organs of speech, of thought, of memory. Named will be the seat of memory, the power and steering, the gliding and grinding, the shift of memory, the high beams and brakes, the rear view mirrors of memory, speeding backward and forward, backward and backward and forward and backward, a time shuttle flying up and around with trails of memory that will have no loose ends to come unraveled, chip by lightning chip, dazzling circuits of silver sand, memory of memory, set, fired, or frozen into a grand organ which belts out the whole of our presence, our sea days, our tree time, our God roots. And not a thing will be forgotten or allowed to slip our dead grasp. The look of love and the look of hate, the birth of our children, the death of our mothers, the incredible series of misunderstandings, the fear of the night, the peace of the moon, the suns of every morning, and the breezes, the view from tops of mountains, parades, expectations, balloons, all things, fresh, wonderful, and spare, the tree-lined path to the quiet motel, a parting kiss at a street corner, rain, the crow caught on the edge of the ice, sun, voices of children falling like bells on the pavement. And there will be room enough and time to stash away the interminable memories of a friend whose cancer has metastasized, of a friend who cannot sleep, of a friend whose father haunts him with a plea for worldly recognition, of the one who barely survived a crash, and another who visits his daughter in the mental ward but won't be seen by her. Yet another and another and another, the bad ones and the good ones, the look on the face of the lottery winner, the positive reply to an urgent letter, the unsuspecting letting up of long-standing pressure, the headache fading gradually, making the body feel new, and new is all of life for the moment. Love that is simply given, all those who have moved beyond keeping count, all those who are blessed with the art of forgiveness. layer on layer, I can, as you can, heap up these memories and make of this world a story so tall it would be nearly beyond all reasonable belief, though true to the last grain of its every rising inch. And we will not have finished, for there's no way to stop, no place that says here you must stop. And sometimes we will repeat grief more than anything else. Why is it so hard to recall moments of pleasure? Why does grief take over like a loud neighbor? So we will remember the Indians stopped in mid-leap, hacked in flight, blacks reduced, the Jews forever pursued by God and man. And someone will admonish us to keep asking, whatever happened to the Hittites? And vivid on our screen will flash the dark-skinned people in a Filipino jungle who see a metal bird rip their ancient sky and are in their tracks petrified and keying away their lives looking for a needle to mend their once seamless household firmament. And never forget the words of Lieutenant Anatoly Gevorkian as he orders Private Oleg Sotnik to kill a young Afghan boy with a knife. Now then, Sotnik, here is the knife. Stick it into this young man. They tell me you're afraid of blood. You must get used to killing in cold blood, like I do. Flow on, water down, or add and stiffen memories, intermingling of naked bodies, ashes to be scattered over the ocean or among the scrub high in the dry mountains, never letting go, like the outraged voices of the bereaved. There is no hiding on the Pacific for you, Elkin. B.J. Elkin, come out of there, you bastard. Don't look for help in the Sierras. It's just a matter of time, Elkin. Did you mix them all up? Just 9,000 pots of ashes? What are numbers? Have we forgotten the past? Public baths? Communal weddings of the dead? No, but we're going to get you, B.J. Elkin. This is not the same. Can never be the same memory twice of body, earth, life, its own thing, and rising so huge, this dump of memory, heart or dome, circumscribing the globe, eyes of memory, catch all ears in waltz of memory, this never-ending track, this terrible circle, holding under a spell all welcome tangents of lapses and forgetfulness, relief from memory, this awesome tree, this dubious fruit, these prodigious artichokes of memory, these sky-high, corpulent cities of memories. Now to scale them down, how to scale them down, tough leaf by leaf, story by dizzy story, filled with memory, down, down to the bare white heart, where the light is soft and sweet, the blindness, or at least down to a human scale, close enough to the ground, to be lost in cities, holding hands without fully knowing why, or caring to quite remember, secretly joyful of the countless openings into being now, where we have come to stay. Say, we are here to stay. And the cities, these last extensions of ourselves, lost or found, are here to stay. All of them, these dwellings, imprints of earthly morning, housing signatures of our late night sojourn, the misty cities in the arms of bays, the clear desert cities, the open, the closed, the booming, pitiless cities, thoracic cities, cities of the heart, shaped by mining matter on rock, or at the fork of meeting rivers, cities named inside and out, cities named with thoughts of consolation, spreading on this ancient bed of earth, as if asleep, under a net of air, warm in memory, breathless, breathing. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ralph. We can give Ralph a round of applause. So you all should be unmuted. I'm gonna cancel Ralph's spotlight. If you would like to ask any questions, make any comments of Dwayne or Ralph, we'll give a few minutes to that.
I'd like to go back to, I'm Joe. I'd like to go back to the one that Dwayne did with the trees, because it just kept me there. When I thought about trees. You know, the trees lose their leaves, but they don't leave. The tree is still rooted. It withers in the winter, and it comes back to life. And it's almost like with this pandemic, you know, we are going to come back to life. Just like this tree. You know, America is going through a very difficult time, but it is rooted. It is rooted like a tree. And it may lose the leaves every now and then, according to the seasons. We've had ups and downs throughout history, but the tree continues to survive. Just wanted to share that.
Anybody else? Dan, please.
Sure.
Well,
Wayne,
I just wanted to say something.
I'm sorry. Dan had
Oh,
his.
sorry.
Dan started to speak, and then go ahead, Dan.
that last one was quite overwhelming. I want to hear a little bit more about Elman. In the middle of this sort of outpouring of insights, suddenly we have this focus on a soldier somewhere. I don't need to say, you know, where did that come from? Who is that? But that's what I want to know.
Richard, am I unmuted?
Yes.
Yes. You know, that was a reference to B.J. Elkin, who was a contractor on the West Coast, taking care of disposing of people's ashes in beautiful places like the Sierras, and you know, in desert places or over lakes and so on. So instead of that, what he did was he cheated and he dumped 9,000 of those pots of ashes that were given to him, and dumped them in a dump site.
Yeah.
So he was caught.
Terrible.
It's a terrible act, terrible desecration. That's what it was.
Wow. Ann Yarmal, you raised your hand.
It's pink. It's pink.
Ann, we can't hear you, and you're not muted. So Ann, I'm sorry, but we can't. I see you speaking, but we can't hear you. There must be something with the connection.
Really, it's no point.
Is it possible that Anne has sort of muted herself?
According to me, no. Not from, I mean, according to what I see, no. It may be something with her connection. Okay, I saw Barry's hand and then Robert's.
And then my grandniece Joanne is in a car and somewhere, and she's also trying to reach you, I think.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say I yield my time to Ralph's grandniece because I know she was waiting expectantly in a car.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So hello everybody, my name is Joanne, and that's my uncle Ralph. So wonderful readings from both of you. I just left work and my commute is about an hour, and you know, Uncle, I just wanted to say that your last reading really transported me, and there was so much ripe imagery and just layers upon layers of meaning for me. And it really just did transport me on this drive. And thank you. I have lots of questions, but I'll reserve them for our next conversation.
Thank you, Joanne. You are a courageous young lady on the front line. Joanne is a doctor dealing with COVID patients.
Bravo.
Bravo was right.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you both for your reading. And I will log off. I'm about to park. And so, Uncle, I'll call you later.
Thank you. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so much,
coming, Joanne.
Brava.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Before, Robert, just give me 1 second. Ann, you want to try again? Do you want to try? Yeah, no, we still can't hear you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, Robert. You said you had your hand up? You're not muted, Robert. You can just speak.
Which Robert are we talking about?
Zwilling. Sorry, Robert Zwilling. Sorry. Robert, you can just speak. You're not muted. Oh, no, you also we can't hear.
Yeah.
That's very strange. Okay. Okay, now try and unmute yourself.
Okay, now it's working. Because I've been saying that we can't be unmuted.
That's so very, because it does, on my screen, it says you're not muted. That's so very strange. Okay, anyway, sorry.
I really like the ideas that I heard tonight about nature being what's left. I mean, I never thought about it. It's like kind of like confusing God with nature. And then cities are extensions of ourselves. I never liked cities, but I never looked at them as that type of thing where it's actually, that is like a reflection of it's a part of us. It's, whether you don't like it or not, but it's there. Something you have to deal with all the time. What I wanted to say.
Okay, well, thank you. All right. So I think, just in the interest of time, that why don't we take a short break now, and we'll come back and do the open mic in about 5 minutes. And Anne, if you can, I mean, my screen says you're not muted, so if you can figure out, maybe you accidentally muted yourself. I have a feeling. Well, we'll see. I mean, because I think there are some people who signed up for the open mic who are not here. So maybe what we can do is people who came late or what have you and would like to read, maybe we can replace them. We can switch it out because there's some people who are not here. So I don't usually start the open mic by reading a poem, but like Dwayne and Ralph and the rest of us, I have been consumed by what's going on in this country. And my wife and my son and I went. There was a demonstration near. We lived not far from a police precinct, and there was a demonstration in front of the police precinct. And it did not get violent. There was no looting, but there was an awful lot of anger. And one of the things that struck me, that strikes me, I'm just going to mute you. You can unmute yourselves now. I have it set to mute you. You're all muted, but you can unmute yourselves. One of the things that strikes me about what's been going on is how quickly people want to move in discussions past anger. People want to say, okay, yes, this was a horrible thing that happened, but let's get past anger and let's get to solutions. And Ralph read an excerpt from June Jordan's poem About My Rights, and she was my very first poetry teacher. But there's another poem of hers that has been kind of going around and around in my head that I want to read because it was a poem written and published in her book Passion, which was published in 1980. And it is so present. I mean, it is so, I mean, you could, with maybe some just timing, you know, things for the adjustments for the passage of years, this poem could have been written a week ago. And it strikes me, you know, that we forget that the anger in the Black community about police violence has long, long roots, and that it's important not to look away from that anger, no matter what else is going on. So I just want to start by reading June Jordan's poem about police violence. Tell me something. What do you think would happen if every time they kill a Black boy, then we kill a cop? Every time they kill a Black man, then we kill a cop. You think the accident rate would lower subsequently? Sometimes the feeling like "amaze me, baby" comes back to my mouth and I am quiet, like Olympian pools from the running mountainous snows under the sun. Sometimes thinking about the 12th house of the cosmos, or the way your ear ensnares the tip of my tongue, or signs that I have never seen, like danger, women working. I lose consciousness of ugly, bestial, rapid, and repetitive affront as when they tell me 18 cops in order to subdue one man, 18 strangled him to death in the ensuing scuffle. Don't you idolize the diction of the powerful, subdue and scuffle, my oh my. And that the murder, that the killing of Arthur Miller on a Brooklyn street was just a justifiable accident, again. People have been having accidents all over the globe so long like that, I reckon that the only suitable insurance is a gun. I'm saying war is not to understand or rerun. War is to be fought and won. Sometimes the feeling like "amaze me, baby" blots it out, the bestial, but not too often. Tell me something. What do you think would happen if every time they kill a Black boy, then we kill a cop? Every time they kill a Black man, then we kill a cop. You think the accident rate would lower subsequently? That poem has been just going around and around in my head, and it's not because I think it would be great to go out killing cops. It's just I think if that anger, if we aren't willing to hold space for that anger, then I don't think there will be a solution. That's just my own piece. So yes, thank you for listening to that. So for those of you who have not been at a First Tuesdays open reading before, let me just say a little bit about how it works. We compose communally a cento as the reading progresses. So after each open mic reader, I will ask you, did you catch a line? Was there a line that moved you, that you liked? And that will become, the first one becomes the first line of the cento. I'll do it again after the second reader and after the third reader. And little by little, we will compose a cento, and by the end of the open mic, we will have a poem composed of lines from all of your offerings during the open mic. And what will happen now that school is over and I have the time, I will be adding things to the website that I just haven't had time to add to the website. But eventually, the cento will be on the First Tuesdays website, which is firsttuesdays.net, which is, I believe, in the email that I sent around. Before I forget, there's one other thing. Ralph and Dwayne, we did not share with people where they can buy your book. And so if you would, what I was going to suggest is type it into the chat.
I'll post it in the chat, Richard. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say post it into the chat, and then I will send it around. But I neglected to do that before. So our first open mic reader actually looks like he is not here any. Ron Bremner, are you here? He was here, and he's not here anymore. Okay, so then next up will be Barry Fruchter. And what I'm gonna do is I will spotlight the person who is reading, and then we'll take off the spotlight, and then we'll ask about a line. So give me a second, Barry.
Okay.
And you're on.
Okay. Prose poem. Obituary. Dead at 2:04. I'm sorry. Obituary in the style of the New York Times. Dead at 244. The nation formerly known as the United States of America, now nameless, of asphyxia, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Monday, the 25th of May, 2020. Ms. America expired on the stony ground where she had tried in vain to plant the deadly seed of racism, lies, and hypocrisy on the graves of the First Nations and the burning bodies of enslaved Africans. Around her rocky bedside knelt the white supremacists who brought her into being in 1607 as an experiment in colonial living, and who were present in 1776 on both sides of the war. As the British, they tried twice to strangle her in her cradle and succeeded merely in becoming American. As Southerners, they lost the battle but won the war for America's soul, torturing and burning for over 100 years her liberated Black brothers and sisters, creating the strange fruit of the southern and the northern trees. They attempted to electrocute her in New York in 1953, to shoot her to death in Texas in 1963, and Tennessee and California in 1968, and to imprison her in DC in 1974. In 2001, when she was buried under rubble, they stood by and cheered, and they continue to do so when, under cover of law, they drag her into war after war against innocents from that year on. Half dead and drunk with the blood of thousands, she enslaved herself in 2016 to a psychopath who admired the Klan and Hitler, woke up and tried to use the outmoded Constitution to eliminate him in late 2019, but was foiled in 2020 by the same old phalanx. As if by pure chance, in March 2020, she contracted COVID-19, stayed home to nurse herself back to health, but contracted poverty instead, tried to resurrect herself in April, came under assault by gunmen in the pay of white supremacy in mid-May, and finally succumbed last Monday. Ms. America lies in repose this day in every tabernacle and Black Baptist and AME church across the land. Cremation every night until her killers are tried and convicted by the will of the people. Scattering of the ashes on all four coasts and mid-Pacific near the islands over the next 5 months. Resurrection postponed at least until the night of the 3rd of November, 2020. In lieu of flowers, please send justice flowing like a river and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Thank you, Barry. Yes, David, I'm sorry, I forgot you. All right, David's going to be our scribe. So do we have a line? Oh, wait, let me unmute. Wait, let me unmute everybody. Do we have a line?
I had two, actually, Richard.
Go ahead.
The first one I wrote down was Miss America lies in repose, but I think I like the second one better. In lieu of flowers, please send justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In lieu of flowers, please send justice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Line 1. Okay. After Barry, next up is Peter Mara. Just give me a second. Peter, give me a second. My computer is not.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is called a Tulpa Rising, a twist of an object. And it makes reference to a tulpa, which is a being or object that is created in the imagination by visualization. Gestures with no warning, they came quietly, reality things, a tribute. Time passed through her mouth, everyone was there. Are the women staying? Touches of moist lips and broken dreams counted out randomly. A blast inside her sentient other. It was leaving her now, soon to return with grime and blood under her fingernails, fingertips smelling of unknown secretions, important shooting, one blast inside. Humming naked cars, whimpering frightened men, walking, hearing, laying down, trying to rest. She adjusted her halo in the cracked mirror that was missing some silver. Low guttural sounds were far behind. She wanted to scream. They were all around her, twisted ethereal things, slamming into her. Her eyes turned backwards. She saw what she had generated while peering through the window. She noticed the slight trembling and acidic taste. It was pushed into the evening, shifting in and out of panic, just translucent white linen images wrapped around her mouth. The head of schizophrenia's fist. The mind had nothing left. She adjusted the barbed wire. It was too tired, too parallel. Then again and again, jolting to a rhythm. Dug up from back there, buried in her brain. Above her, anemic masks were changing places. Faceless females sneaked a peek through the shutters of the decaying cottage, carrying ecstasies, apprehension. It was an environmental fright crawling up her spine. Her faces shifted from side to side. The flesh had subsided at the sound of the visualizing tendency of ludicrous lovers. She relished getting them off in pain. Rabid leather thongs were pulled tight by shattered teeth. She screamed because of their hurt. Eyes straight down, two forms of her body touching her. Her eyes rolled back crazily but lazily. Gaze transfixed, exploding mantis jaws. A blood spatter crescendo defined her purpose. The unknown thing made her feel too guilty. She inhaled the intoxicating smoke of the matchstick women and men that she had set on fire. Why did you come here? Why do you hear me? I have nothing more. Blasting out different degrees of orgasm, panting in rooms devoid of color, lips stretched out, crystalline daggers, one horrible movement. She squeezed the heart dry. My name, it hurts to hear it, she said. The audience viewed me doing things in the forbidden area. Yes, it was in this position, a body lost, ghosts frantically circling and searching my womb. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. All right, do we have a line? Oh, wait, I got to remember to unmute everybody. Do we have a line?
I like time passed through her mouth. What, and forgot the rest of it.
Time passed through her mouth, okay.
But that was like half the line or something, I think. Or?
Yeah, let me see.
Well, that's okay. I mean, let's see what other people got.
The head of schizophrenia's fist.
The head of schizophrenia's fist, okay. So we've got
A blood spattered crescendo.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
Okay. So we've got, in lieu of flowers, please send justice. The clenched, what was the line about schizophrenia?
The head of schizophrenia's fist.
In lieu of flowers, please send justice. The head of schizophrenia's fist. In lieu of flowers, please send justice. And what was the bloody crescendo?
A blood spattered crescendo.
In lieu of flowers, please send justice. A blood splattered crescendo. And Robert, what was yours?
That was good.
Through the mouth, through time passed through her mouth, something.
In lieu of
Passed through her mouth, everyone was there.
In lieu of flowers, please send justice. Time passed through her mouth. Everyone was there. Which one do you like?
The second one.
Blood splattered crescendo.
Yeah, blood splattered crescendo.
In
Blood
lieu of
splattered
flowers,
crescendo.
please send justice. A blood splattered crescendo.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Next is Marty Levine. Okay, Marty, you're up.
Heroes. The ancient heroes were not like you and me. They had a little God in them, said the well-born. As soon as a guy started acting heroic, the stories would start of a God fathering him in the guise of a swan or a bull or a shower of gold. An insult to the man's honesty.
Marty, hold on. Sorry, I accidentally muted you. Go ahead. Maybe you should start again.
Okay. Heroes. The ancient heroes were not like you and me. They had a little God in them, said the well-born. As soon as a guy started acting heroic, the stories would start of a God fathering him in the guise of a swan or a bull or a shower of gold, an insult to the man's honest father and a shame to the man's blameless mother. A common man could not become a hero through his own initiative and hard work, said the powerful. And of course, a woman could not. It must be in his blood. A bard born of a tradesman could not write the greatest plays. No, it must be a nobleman writing under a pseudonym. Only those of aristocratic descent could rise to great heights, said the nobleman, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have a line?
Fat asses off our golden seats.
Yeah, the last
I
one.
like the last line.
The last
In case some commoner knocks our fat asses off our golden seats.
Yeah. Some commoner will knock our fat asses off.
Marty, just say it one more time.
Or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats.
This cento is going to descend into satire. Mally, I can't hear you. You may need to. Okay, she's gonna lock. Okay. I'm sorry, Mally. I can't hear you. Okay, so we've got in lieu of flowers, a blood splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. So now we're descending with this. This is becoming a satirical cento. Let me say it one more time. In lieu of flowers, please send justice, a blood splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. Okay.
Commoner becoming hero. I like.
Lynette is not here, which means David Siller, you're up next. Give me a second. And just give me 1 second while I mute everyone and unmute you. Where are you? There you are. Go ahead. You're on, David.
Okay. Okay, this one's called Code Switching Number 9. And nous in French is we. Yes, we, which sounds like we. Donc, we is nous, we. Nous is we, and as unluck would have it, this nous is a false friend because their nous is our nous or nous. Oh mon Dieu, now this gets complicated. You see, in British English, the Queen's English, the posh BBC World News English, the English you'll hear on Sky and Masterpiece and ITV, they say nous. And in American English, Hollywood English, hoity-toity intro to philosophy at a small liberal arts university English, we say, c'est-à-dire nous disons, as it were, nous, nous. And that isn't even really said so much at all unless you're reading bits of philosophy for that university class we mentioned moments ago. Because with your nous, you can understand what is true or real. And it is true that, say, wandering along Highbury Hill in the shadow of an old stadium or marching up Hornsey Road to the Arsenal's armory, the word nous whooshes out of mouths with much more frequency, as when post-Derby North London is painted red. The brags and boasts and boosts of Tony Adams' defensive nous echo up and down the lanes. Mr. Arsenal himself, a wall, a beast, a colossal, invincible professor of defense. And in a properly populated pub, pints and palms, gripped professionally on Premier League mornings, one might mention the tactical nous of a certain Lee Dixon, right back in the right position to make the right cross or the right interception, and sometimes, with just the right touch, might pop one right past a keeper, the back of the net snapping taut. 1-0 to the Arsenal, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Or perhaps the leadership nous of Laurent Koscielny, former Gunners captain and Frenchman. Well, not a former Frenchman, he's still French, but nowadays foots balls for another team, it seems. And so his nous would have also been his nous. been the we in team, the we and supporters, the whole, we just barely won that one, or we've got to find some defensive midfielders, or we're gonna, as in, we love you, Arsenal, we do. We love you, Arsenal, we do. We love you, Arsenal, we do. Oh, Arsenal, we love you. But there's also the French historian, hunkered down in a bunker of books in the back of a King's College office, writing of Napoleon's military nous, who in turn wrote in a letter to Josephine in 1796, Nous naissons, nous vivons, nous mourons au milieu de merveilleux, which is marvelous, don't you think? And here we are in the US, stuck with our noose that we really don't use, though it sounds like noose, which we used for quite a long time, too long in fact, when we're all about us and them, which really hasn't changed all that much. Our noose, being ever unreasonable, still fails to see a we. And we've no noose, as those lads in London might remind us, no good sense or practical intelligence. I mean, who here practices intelligence, not we? Which of course brings me back to lacking noose. And contrary to maxims, no noose is not good news, and no noose doesn't mean no lynching. No noose leads to no news, and no news means no good news. Though nous allons, mais où allons-nous? Where are we going? Good old American noose hanging from our rear view, slow going, even no going, with no noose indeed. But we need nous and nous in all senses of the term, nous en avons besoin, because we are born, we live, and we will die in the middle of the marvelous. Ah, there's the translation floating around. And where were we? Oh yes, dying in the middle of the marvelous, hanging by our own regalia, hanging by our own clumsy hands, never clasped in those of neighbors. We just hang there, redundant rear view regalia, each and one and each, two thumbs singling out this guy. And had we studied French a little better, or even at all, Napoleon would remind us that we must be greater in spite of ourselves. Il faut être plus grand, malgré nous.
All right, thank you, David. So, Dwayne.
Dying in the middle of the marvelous.
Yeah, I had that same one.
Dying in the middle of the marvelous. We've also got who here practices intelligence, not we. So let's try those two. David, tell me the third line, the line from Marty's poem again. I forgot.
Talking about you.
I'm here. I just did this one.
David, why are you?
The line, I'm good. The line from Marty's poem was, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats.
So, in lieu of flowers, send justice. A blood splattered crescendo. Or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats, dying in the middle of the marvelous.
Oh.
Or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. Who here practices intelligence? Not we.
I like
Which
that,
one?
the second one.
The second one?
I think it's the intelligence, not we, goes best.
Okay, that's all right. So who? That's that's where I get the most votes, the most nods that I see. So the last line: who here practices intelligence? Not we. All right. Next up is Dan Fleshler. Give me a second, Dan.
Well, I'm
Give me a second. Just
how's that?
Go ahead.
This refers to a pretty famous phrase Martin Luther King used that I hope people get it. If not, then you need to tell me. But the title is About That Moral Arc of the Universe. The metaphor couldn't be more wrong. In the real universe, outside of our yearning, nattering minds, an electric arc couldn't bend towards justice or any other destination without an arc master manipulating gaseous explosions, controlling and containing hot splashes of electrons in carefully cultivated spaces. It would need an electronic fascist, a Stalin toying with the Big Bang's afterglow, a cosmic allies of the Moes, Larrys, and Curlys, now in the White House bunker. To frame us in this chaos, this swirl of sweet marchers and licensed bullies and kids grabbing hoodies from bashed-in stores, we need something else, something better. Like a narrow gate, open every second, its field charged with redemptive potential, and we need to pour through it, keep on pouring. Hearts and mind transforming this present moment and then the next one, not waiting for any other universe to bend. Thanks.
Yes. Yes, yes. Do we have a line?
White House bunker.
I was going to say that line, the Moes, Larrys, and Curlys in the White House bunker.
Oh, it's now in the White House.
Curly's in
I like the last line. The last line.
What's the last line?
Last line.
Dan, you want
Which last line?
You want to say
What was the last line?
Dan,
Well, it's really several lines. Transforming the present moments, and then the next one, not waiting for any other universe to bend.
Yeah, not waiting for any other universe to bend. I like that.
All right, so we've got the Moes, Larrys, and Curlys of the Lighthouse.
No, the Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker.
somehow I turned that into a lighthouse. We've got the Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker, and what's the other one?
Not waiting for any other universe to bend.
In lieu of flowers, please send justice, a blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our... Who here practices intelligence? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys in the White House bunker.
Yes.
Or who here practices intelligence? Not we. What was that other line?
Not waiting for any other universe to bend.
Who here practices intelligence? Not we. Not waiting for any other universe to bend.
No, Mo, Larry.
Mo, Larry, and I like
Mo, Larry, and Curly.
Mo, Larry, and the Moes,
Larry, and Curly. Yes.
Okay, but it's now in the White House bunker. You got to put the now in there.
Yeah.
Didn't I say now?
Nope.
Okay.
I was
then
very upset.
No, all right. I understand. It's your poem, not mine. Now in the Lighthouse bunker. Okay.
White House.
White House.
White House.
Not
Got it.
White
I got it.
White House.
The scribe has it.
Somebody will correct me each time I get it wrong. Don't worry. Next up is someone I think who has never read for First Tuesdays before. Right, Sandy? Have you read?
That's true. No, I never have.
So please welcome Sandy Leibowitz. Let me find you. Hold on. There you are. Please welcome Sandy Leibowitz for the first time to the First Tuesdays open mic. Just give me 1 second. Where's your name? There you are.
I'm there. Okay.
You're on.
Hi. Thank you for letting me join you. This is The Boat. I don't know how to pronounce this woman's name, so forgive me. For Bay Thi Huynh, who fled from Vietnam in a boat with her husband Joseph in 1980. They died in Worcester, Massachusetts of the coronavirus on the same day. 60 years ago, the boat of marriage carried me to you. It was not a ship of our own making, but it was our labor that kept it from foundering. It had no engines, no sails. Always we rowed together, sometimes through desperate currents. I counted on you, as you did me, to work the oars, despite the ache of muscles pushed too far, exertion almost beyond endurance. If you pulled too hard, we went off course. If I stopped rowing, the boat went in useless circles. When our land grew too dangerous, you built in secret a real boat. We used one of my old dresses for a sail and gave ourselves and our children to the sea, risking everything. We were lucky ones. We survived and built new lives in a new country. Now in the same hospital, we lie for the first time in separate beds. The rhythm we hear, not the splash of waves or each other's heartbeats, but the labored intake and outtake of our breathing, the machine's chirps. Take my hand, Joseph. Let us pull away together as we did in life, in 60 years of love, traversing this new ocean. What is one more journey?
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
That was lovely.
Thank you.
Very lovely. Okay. Do we have a line?
What is one more journey?
What is one more?
Yeah, what is
Journey.
What is one more journey?
Yes.
Beautiful.
That's okay. In lieu of flowers, please send justice. A blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will kick our fat asses off our golden seat. Who practices intelligence? Who here practices intelligence? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys. White House bunker. What is one more journey? Okay. You know this is a success when Patricia laughs out loud like that. Okay. So Miriam Hage is not here. So Lisa, were you the one who asked me if the sign up was finished?
No, not me.
No. O'Malley. So we'll have time because there are a bunch of people who aren't here. So you'll go last. Okay. Next up is Norman Stock, who unfortunately my email filter seems to think always sends me junk. But I promise you, hold on, give me a second, Norman. I promise you his poems are not junk. Just give me a second. All right. Hold on. There you are. Norman, you're up.
Okay. This is called What Should I Do? Should I get up? Should I lie down? Should I walk to the corner? Should I stay home? Should I go out? Should I go to my friend's house and talk to him for hours and hours? Should I bother people in the street? Should I run and run and run until I am exhausted? Should I play dead, and when the police come, should I say it was only a joke? Should I laugh uncontrollably till my stomach hurts? Should I tie myself in knots? Should I forget I exist? Should I continue? Should I stop?
Wow, thank you. Okay.
I like the line about the police.
Like, should I continue or should I stop?
Should I continue? Yeah.
All right, should I continue? Should I
Should
stop?
I continue or should I stop?
It's not or.
There's no or, right? It's just should I continue? Should I stop?
Yeah. And the other one about the police is, should I play dead? And when the police come, should I say it was only a joke?
All right. Should I play dead, or when the police come, should I say it was only a joke?
Yeah.
All right. Little flowers, please send justice. A blood-splattered crescendo. Or else some commoner will kick our fat asses off our golden... Sorry?
Knock our fat ass.
Or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden steeds. Who here practices intelligence? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker. What's one more journey? Should I play dead, or when the police come, should I tell them it was only a joke? Or what else? What's one more journey? Should I continue? Should I stop?
Police. I like the police.
The police? We got one vote for the police.
2 votes for the police.
Yeah, I'll go for
3,
that.
4. Okay, so it's the police. This is like the what's the music show we're voting for the police? Okay. Wait, let me say that. So the line is, should I play dead, or when the police come, should I tell them it was only a joke, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Play dead, and when the police, yeah, right.
Okay, so next up is Lydia Chang. Lydia, give me a second.
Lydia Chang, it's you. All right. Move over so we see you and look up. Don't look down. Oh, they have to. Yeah,
Okay.
Lydia, give me 1 second.
Mhm.
Oh, hold on.
Maybe you don't need it.
Okay, go ahead, Nor. No, Go ahead, Lydia.
Okay. It's called I Cried. Simon told me that his wife is getting senile or Alzheimer's disease. A nice friend of over 50 years ago, I cried. Howard told me he had been seeing an eye specialist for the past several years. He was diagnosed as suffering from macular degeneration.
Look up.
A few days ago, he whispered, "I am blind in one eye." I cried. Ken announced he had separated from his wife after 30 years of marriage, which had been unbearable for him all along. I cried. Maria confided, "Had I known better, I would never have had children," but warned me not to tell this to anybody in order to not dishonor her highly respected son. I cried. Isabel confirmed to me that her husband has abused their teenage daughter for the last 8 years. I cried. Frank's daughter is autistic, but his wife insisted it's not possible such a thing could have not have happened to them. I cried. I cried. And I am a New York State licensed psychotherapist. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia.
Okay.
You have a line?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Natalie.
I cried.
I cried. Natalie, go ahead. Oh, you know what, Natalie? Type it into the chat. Natalie, we can't hear you. Can you type it into the chat?
I got it.
Oh,
How
there-
about I cried, I cried.
Twice. Right.
Two.
We've also got could not have happened to them. So here we go. You didn't know that this was going to be, because this is like became this like the workshop portion. In lieu of flowers, please send justice, a blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. Who practices intelligence here? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curly. Sorry? Oh, I thought you were telling me I forgot something. Intelligence here. Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker. What's one more journey? What's one more journey? Should I play dead, or when the police come, should I tell them it was only a joke? I cried. I cried. Or when the police come, should I tell them it was only a joke? Could not have happened to them.
I cried.
I cried.
Cried.
I cried.
Cried.
I cried. I cried.
Right, I cried. I cried. Next, Patricia, where are you? There you are. Give me a
Okay,
second.
here I am. Short one. Send me an angel. It was inspired by the scorpions.
Patricia, hold on a second.
Okay, no problem.
And don't cover your mouth. Yeah.
Just give me a second. Where are you? You're muted.
Okay.
There you go.
Send me an angel inspired by the scorpions. Wisdom comes with maturity, but it's hard to be wise when your nation caters to avarice and ignorance. You never saw the storm seize the new year, and like the government, life shuts down for struggle to thrive. Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing, sends cryptic messages between you and your mask. You did your best, prayed for that miracle that fell prey to lies and deceit. Open your eyes. Your angel left for another Zoom call. Stay locked in your quarantine. Watch gray feathers etched in red blow off the fire escape.
Okay, thank you. And have we aligned?
Feathers etched in red.
Feathers etched in red.
Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing.
Feathers etched in red, or anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing.
Open your eyes.
Watch gray feathers etched in red, and the rest of that line.
Blow off the fire escape.
Say it one more time.
Someone want to say open your, someone said the angel?
Yeah, the angel.
Yeah, I like that one.
I like that one. Open your eyes, your angel left for another Zoom call.
Yeah, that was the other one.
Keeping the funny.
I heard feathers etched in red. I heard open your eyes, your angel left for another Zoom call. And what was the other one?
Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing.
Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing. All right.
Watch gray feathers. Watch gray feathers etched in red.
Now say that again.
Got it, yeah.
Watch gray feathers etched in red.
Watch gray feathers etched in red.
I think that was the
Yeah, watch gray feathers etched in red blow off the fire escape.
That would blow up the fire escape.
I'm favoring open your eyes. Angel left.
No, just that much.
Let me say it.
Okay, let him say it.
Let me say it, and we'll do our little democratic process, and we'll see. Power, please send justice. A blood splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. Who practices intelligence here? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House, bunker. What's one more journey? When the police come, what's one more journey? Should I play dead? Or when the police come, should I tell them it was only a joke? I cried. Watch gray feathers etched in red. Or I cried. Your angel has left for another Zoom call.
Open your eyes, your angel left for another Zoom call.
I cried. Open your eyes. Your angel left for another Zoom call. Dwayne likes that one. Or,
I like that one too.
I cried. What's the one about anxiety?
Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing.
I cried. Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing.
I like that one.
I like that one.
I like the Zoom.
I like the Zoom
angel.
call. I like the angel better.
Like the angel better?
Angel.
Yeah.
Angel.
So why don't we use them both? I
Okay.
cried.
Okay.
Cried.
Democracy.
I cried. And this may not be the order in the poem, Patricia, but I cried.
Who cares?
I cried. Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. After Patricia is someone else who has not read here for First Tuesdays before. Robert Roth, where are you? There you are.
Over here.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, Robert, you're up.
Okay, I wrote this almost 20 years ago to the day, actually. Read June 14th, 2000, at an event at City Hall protesting the police killing of Amadou Diallo. And the piece is called On the Rape of Abner Louima, in a Brooklyn precinct house. 30 years ago, I was sitting in my friend Lennox Raphael's apartment, smoking extremely strong grass stronger than I was used to. My girlfriend, Lisa Howell, was there, as well as another man. Lennox was from Trinidad. He was a poet, a playwright, and a very good cook. It was at his house that I first ate curry, tasted chutney, and ate really extraordinary vegetarian dishes. There was always a nice flow of energy between us. He was someone I really, really liked. The other man in the room was someone I had never met before. Like Lennox, he was very dark, and he was also quite big. He had a real softness to his face. We passed the joint back and forth. The man was lost in his thoughts, doodling intently. I thought nervously on a piece of paper a little to the side of him. Suddenly, I fixated on the pen. I saw the pen as a weapon. He's going to stab me with it. Come on, he's just lost in his thoughts. He was lost in his thoughts, just lost in his thoughts. He's going to stab me. His face was soft. He was going to stab me. Absolutely no hostility was coming towards me. He's going to stab me. My fear and panic were acute. I settled myself down. When he left the room for a few minutes, I told Lisa, who like me was white, who had grown up poor and on welfare, about what had happened. She answered in a voice laced with contempt. Why don't you just fight him already and get it over with? What I heard her say was, why don't you just fuck him already and get it over with? Which was, of course, even more to the point.
Okay, thank you.
Why don't you go fuck him already?
Why don't you go fuck him already?
And get it over with. And get it over with.
And get it over
And get it over with.
Right, exactly.
Fuck him already and get it over with.
Perfect, perfect,
Is
perfect.
that it? That's the line?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Stento is taking many turns in a short space, I'm just saying. In lieu of flowers, please send justice, a blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seat. Who here practices intelligence? Not we. Those Larrys and Curlys now in the White House bunker. What's one more journey? Should I play dead, or when the police come, should I tell them?
And when the police come. Not or, and. Should I just play dead and when the police come?
Oh, I'm sorry, Norman. What's one more journey? Should I play dead, and when the police come, tell them it was only a joke? I cried. Anxiety doesn't believe in social distancing. Watch gray feathers etched in red. Watch gray feathers etched in red. Why don't you fuck them already? No, watch gray feathers.
What happened to the angel with the Zoom call?
I know.
What happened to the angel with the Zoom call? I thought that was agreed on.
Why don't you go fuck them already and get it over with?
That's your answer. Thank you.
Watch gray feathers. Watch gray feathers etched in red. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call. Why don't you go fuck them already? And get... All right. Robert, thank you. Next up, so we've got a few people now who have never read here before. Where are you, Christina? Where are you, Christina? There you are. Give me a second.
Hi.
Hi, give me a second. Okay. Why is it not letting me unmute? Can you unmute yourself, Christina?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
This is something I'm playing around with. It's to the tune of the wheels on the bus go round and round. The brown man cried, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. The brown man cried out, I can't breathe, and then he died. The people everywhere got mad, 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 mad. The people everywhere got mad, mad, mad. They said that's not okay. The mommies everywhere got sad, 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 sad. The mommies everywhere were sad, sad, sad. They cried, enough already. The young people everywhere stomped their feet, stomped their feet, stomped their feet. The young people everywhere stomped their feet. They said, this has got to end. The nurses everywhere said, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. The nurses everywhere cried, wash your hands and don't forget your masks. The old people were scared, 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 scared. Everyone stayed inside all day 'cause they were so scared. The teenagers, they said, we got you, we got you, we got you. The teenagers, they said, bro, we got you. Don't you worry, bro. The people wanted to know, who sees us, who sees us, who sees us. The people wanted to know, who sees us, who will hear us. The children everywhere cried, I love you, I love you, I love you. The children everywhere sang, I love you, why can't you?
Okay, thank you. So, you have a line?
And then he died.
And then he died?
And then he died.
I like, don't forget your mask. Mask.
Nurses all around said, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. I guess, don't forget your mask. I think that's the nurse line, right?
It's the end of the nurse one, but I'm thinking, don't forget, I just want, don't forget your mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got, and then he died, and don't
And
forget.
then he died.
Try,
Put that here in the back, I guess.
try them both.
Yeah.
I can suggest a line. So, in lieu of flowers, please send justice. A blood splatter crescendo. Or actually, let me come on. Somebody's got like a radio or something on. It sounds like. In lieu of flowers, please send justice. A blood splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seat. Who practices intelligence here? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker. What's one more journey? What's one more journey? Should I play dead and tell the police when they come it was all a joke? I cried. I cried. Cried. I cried. Watch gray feathers etched in red. What? No, I cried. I cried. Anxiety does not believe in social distancing. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call. Why don't you fuck them already and get it over with? And don't forget your masks. Or why don't you fuck them already and get it over with? And then he died.
Don't forget your masks.
Masks?
Yeah. Because he already said died before. Too many
Okay,
die.
don't forget your masks. All right.
Because
We've got 1, 2, 3. I think we've got about 5 more readers.
be interesting.
John is back, so 6 more readers.
Be interesting.
All right, next up is Henry Sussman. All right, so Henry, give me a minute. Okay, Henry, you're up.
Thank you. A somewhat long poem, so I'm just picking out a couple of sections. And it's called Collateral Dommage. To my brothers and sisters, Corona, East Elmhurst, fallen in earth, not yet consecrated, sanctity, a la Passchendaele, sum of battles, yet still our blood, unconditionally. However, our democracy, now rigged and perverted, democracy once proclaimed and blessed amid upheaval, older brother to all of us toying, contending with poetry, elder sibling, Walt, and model. 3, stately cargo ships overladen, bumper to bumper, identical fleet skirting Venice, negotiating lagoon, witnessed Back Bay Grand Canal, spring 97. Far too wide a berth to shoehorn historical channels, long distance trade, once upon a commodity, when puny sails edged out these waters, tankers glide by in silence, thumbing their prows, modern city-state, its very paradigm. Back from oblivion, the Doge stumbled out the morgue, superannuated political configurations, domination, thought safely archived, inaccessible warp of time. Direct to you, 1215 AD, new global lords, zombie vestiges, medieval aristocracy, reruns, history's horror show, preserved, cocktail of the dépassé in full brutality. Any schmo these days, ingenious enough to wield a tap, a sluice, whatever gauge, to these sublime flows, rare minerals, what have you, critical shortages, advanced technologies deemed indispensable, prances in self-certainty, with or without the ball and chain. Wealth endlessly accruing, cash, shares, influence, Bitcoin, accounted, administered, multinational corporate entities, bolting offshore, always, beholden less and less anything deliberate, say government, social agency, community, and any payback, prominent display, museum, lobby, hospital, transpires through magnanimity, nobility's heraldic emblem, philanthropy. Epoch of the oily gark, heralding barbarism's eternal return. Welcome back, Charlemagne. 4, last section. You count your honor, your distinction. Tell me another. Your honor too drains Gaia, values you profess, levitating you one nano standard deviation beyond swarm, grasping, stampeding human folk, desperate to distraction. Your neighbors, Honor stilting your screw poles, whichever addiction, your personal mantra, power, sex, money, getting high, being pure, intimacy, all virtual states, grandeur, expansion, slipping down toward the chemical substances. Honor, sexual probity, abstinence, transgression. Honor, adultery, marriage, true minds. Honor, learned degrees. Honor, acuity. Honor, drink. Bottle cannot kill him. Head, bloodied but unbowed. Yes, and still captain of his soul, Bateson. Honor, vengeance, daughter's dishonor. Honor, being a white man, spreading carte blanche murder. Honor, proud gun owner. Honor, imaginary suicide, reserved with vintage treasures, rear end of closet, breakwater, shames, surges. Give it up, Mr. K, notoriously noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Okay, so
Barbarism, eternal return.
barbarism, eternal return.
What was it? Here is, or what is it line? Here is barbarism's eternal return.
Yeah.
Francis and self-certainty.
Okay. I like it.
Epic of the oily gark.
The oily gark.
Epic of the oily
What is
gark.
a gark?
I had to look it up.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know.
Francis and self-certainty.
What?
Francis in self-certainty.
Francis and self-certainty. I liked With or Without the Ball and Chain.
Okay, that's good.
All right. So I heard, I don't know, I don't remember all the ones I heard. So here we go. 1. In lieu of flowers, 1, because it makes it easier to remember this way. 1. In lieu of flowers, please send justice, a blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. Who practices intelligence here? Not me. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker. 2. What's one more journey? Should I play dead and tell the police when they thought it was only a joke? I cried. I cried. 3. Watch gray feathers etched in red. Anxiety does not believe in social distancing. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call. Why don't you fuck them already and get it over with? And don't forget your masks, with or without. And what was the other line? I guess we're going with or without the ball and chain. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next up is, and I'm guessing, Jose, that you are one of Ralph's guests, because you have not read here before. So give me a second, Jose. And do you pronounce your last name pronounced Irizarry?
You're very close. Irizarry.
Irizarry, okay. Please welcome Jose Irizarry for the first time at First Tuesday. Just give me 1 second. And let me unmute you. And Jose, you're up.
You can hear me?
Yep.
I cannot breathe. The walls surround me. I cannot breathe. The consequences of premature decisions have hemmed me in, and I cannot breathe. I simply cannot breathe. Life's currents have distanced my shores from yesterday. Now I go, ever so slowly, now I go, slipping into darkness. Its swift flow unhalted regardless of tomorrow, want, or sorrow. Its direction and evolving destination, unphantomed but unaltered. The walls surround me. and I simply cannot breathe. The walls surround me and I cannot breathe. The misty fog offshore, the starboard bow drawing near. Suddenly, joy and glory no longer to be found. A dark blanket sky, a rain cloud, full of boom-threatening sounds, a cold mirroring sea, its ripples no longer reflecting me, no longer reflecting we. We, breathless, surrounded, and war-bound, has come beanbags and gas grenades through the air, has come memories I can't undo, words I cannot write, passions and desires no longer heartfelt, yet in there still and bound. And so I simply cannot breathe. For shame, this journey we now take on a ship whose walls surround the we, forced to live in a world of false security, false identity, false individuality. There seems to be only an us and them with no we, and I simply cannot breathe.
Us and them with no we. Beautiful.
Thank you, Jose. Us and them with no we.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I simply cannot breathe.
And I simply cannot breathe.
What?
All right.
I had the walls surround me and I simply cannot breathe.
The walls surround me and I simply cannot breathe.
Yeah, that's
There is
I like that.
memories I cannot recall, words I cannot write.
Memories I cannot recall, words I cannot write. Okay.
I like
It's
that.
actually memories I cannot words, memories I can't undo, words I cannot write.
Thank you.
Memories I can't undo, words I cannot write.
Yeah.
1. Blue of justice, please send flowers. A blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seat. Who practices intelligence here? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker. 2. What's one more journey? Should I play dead and tell the police when they come it was only a joke? I cried. 3. Watch gray feathers etched in red. Anxiety does not believe in social distancing. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call. Why don't you fuck them already and get it over with? And don't forget your masks, with or without the ball and chain. 4. Memories I can't undo. Words I cannot write. And we'll move on from there. Next is Robert Zwilling, who is also with us from Up by Ralph. So give me a second, Robert. Robert, can you unmute yourself? There you go. You're up.
Okie doke. There it goes. Okay. This one's called News of the Week. More meetings there are, less changes there are, that's entertainment. A swig of this, a dash of that, attention span almost 30 seconds. Beg your pardons, apologies so overused, another soul notched. More than a death, a tombstone round our necks, try to carry that load. Constellations as big as galaxies, but only a few named stars listed. Baggage cars are where the real riders are, stuff life needs to grow. Car passenger cars, packed like canned sardines, beaches crowded. Exhalations, generating clouds of consternation, death follows. Like a descending cloud, covers everything in the first moments. Only the susceptible or unlucky fall quickly at first. Others follow. After a while, seems to slow down. Perhaps it is simply moving on. Inhalations, as the cloud moves on to new territories, sowing grief. Imagination powers facts until jagged, fractured fractions fill the cups. Life changed when not doing something, just as bad as doing something. The time now filled with runners, outrunning our pasts and presents. Waiting for the right future, that already happened many years ago.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have a line.
A tombstone around our necks.
Marty, say that again.
A tombstone around our necks.
Okay, I like that. Anybody else? One. In lieu of justice, please send flowers. No. One. In lieu of flowers, send justice. Splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. Who practices intelligence here? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker. What's one more journey? Should I play dead and tell the police when they get here it was only a joke? I cried. 3. Watch gray feathers etched in red. Anxiety does not believe in social distancing. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call. Why don't you fuck them already and get it over with? And don't forget your masks, with or without the ball and chain. Memories I can't undo, words I cannot write. A tombstone hung around our necks. Okay.
That's good.
So we have 3 more readers. Bonnie.
Yeah.
Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, but you don't have video?
No, I have video. Hold on. Sorry.
That I can spotlight you so we can all see you while you read. Hold on. Just give me a second. Okay, Bonnie, you're up.
Okay. My father never loved my mother. He wiped away her tears with tenacity. She wiped away her tears with tenacity, while my father wept up in the corner. Here was the freak show, the ringside attraction. First, there was my father with his booming voice that could echo through tunnels and shatter glass, and my mother, who would never really scream, who would scream, but who would never really deflect his omniscience. It was amazing how they could deter neighbors, discuss strangers, drive away friends. Then there was me, and I was the strangest of them all. So when it would get bad, I would draw the curtains, pretend that the show was over, and adamantly refuse when they would ask for an encore. I once offered my parents $5 so that they would stop. I stood in the middle like a referee. I slid off sentences. I overlooked obscenities and the small pieces of spit that flew outside the sides of their mouth. It was then that I should have realized that money was immaterial and I would give up a lifetime's fortune for one day of peace.
Thank you.
He was a freak show. What was the whole line? He was a freak show.
The ringside attraction. I had that one too.
Oh,
Yeah.
here was the freak show. Here was the freak show. The ringside attraction.
Yeah, I like that.
I stood in the middle.
So here was a freak show. Here was a freak show or the freak show?
The freak show.
Here was the freak show, a ringside attraction.
The freak show, the ringside attraction.
Oh, they're both the? Okay. Here was the freak show, the ringside attraction, or I stood in the middle. Any preference?
Show line.
In the middle.
I'm sorry, David?
I would say the freak show line.
The freak show. Freak show.
Okay.
Everybody's gonna like freak show.
Freak show. Freak show.
1. In lieu of flowers, please send justice, a blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seat. Who practices intelligence here? Not we, the Moes, Larrys, and Curlys now in the White House bunker. 2. What's one more journey? Should I play dead and tell the police when they get here it was only a joke? I cried. I cried. Watch gray feathers etched in red. 3. Anxiety does not believe in social distancing. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call. Why don't you fuck them already and get it over with? And don't forget your masks, with or without the ball and chain. 4. Memories I can't undo, words I cannot write. A tombstone hung around our necks. This was a freak show. No, here is the freak show. The ringside attraction. Okay, so we have 2 more readers. John, are you with us? John McMullen?
I'm unmuted.
Okay, John, hold on a second. Give me a second.
We heard you.
There you are. Okay, John, you're up.
All right. I read 2 poems at my town board meetings tonight. Normally, I only read 1, but I thought there was so much going on around that I wanted to get 2 things that related to me. Now, unfortunately, Ralph and Christina, and
John, I'm going to ask you to read just one.
Oh, okay. Then I'll read the shorter of the 2. George Floyd. George Floyd was suspected of being a forger. George Floyd is dead. George Floyd was black. George Floyd had a white officer kneel on his neck. George Floyd was black. George Floyd said they couldn't breathe. The officer stayed on his neck for 5 minutes. George Floyd was black. I don't know if George Floyd was a forger. I do know that if he were a white forger, he would be alive today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to suggest that it's probably not. I don't feel comfortable using George Floyd's name in the cento. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but just given the circumstances, I don't feel right taking the name out of context and putting it in the cento. But John, thank you. That was
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm glad that you read that, and it was important that you read that. But I don't think we should take his name like that. All right. Our next and last reader is Mally Bowman.
Hi.
Mally, give me a second.
Sure. Oh my God, I'm on the screen.
larger than life. Hold on. All right. Can you unmute yourself?
I can.
There you go.
How's that? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for this. Thank you. You save our souls by doing this. Thank you. This is a piece called Amnesia. Upstairs that echo in 2-story buildings that surround a circular driveway where our new 1955 green and white DeSoto parked by the curb in a post-World War II America with its promises of 2-car garages, our bottled milk is delivered weekly. At school, we pledge allegiance to the flag, snack on Linden chocolate chip cookies, washed down by pint cartons of milk. At home, we listened to Kate Smith sing the Star-Spangled Banner from our Sylvania TV. Now tonight, 3 days before Christmas, from astride his red chair, I watch my father die. I try to remember loving him, to forget the belt unbuckled, wielded in rages. I will forgive him from the distance of age, outlive him and the welts, but I will not remember love. I do remember that night when the snow fell and covered our green and white DeSoto. I remember each detail, the heat of the room, 2 men with oxygen tanks, as if they stepped out of a Jacques Cousteau ocean, the stomp of boots, my mother's collapse on the gray couch, my sister as she watches the Mouseketeers, MIC, see you real soon, KEY, why? Because we love you. The tuna fish sandwich from the downstairs neighbor, her Christmas tree lit in the dark living room we crossed to enter the bright fluorescent kitchen with its white linoleum floor and the yellow formica table surrounded by 4 chrome chairs. But I do not remember love. That night, I will lay motionless, sober and still, on my aunt's bedroom settee in pretended sleep and mental conversation with God who art in heaven, a conversation of gratitude and guilt. Gratitude for choosing me, guilt for being grateful. In the morning, I will build a snowman next to our 1955 green and white DeSoto as the black limousine drives away.
Beautiful. Okay. Why? Because we love you.
Okay.
But I do not remember love.
Yeah, that's what I had. I do not remember love.
I do not remember love. That's okay.
But I do not remember.
But I do not remember love. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your cento for June 2020, the last cento of the 2019-2020 series. Thank you all for coming. Ralph and Dwayne, thanks so much for reading.
Yeah, they were great.
It was really lovely. And this is your cento. See if I can do the whole thing. 1. In lieu of flowers, please send justice, a blood-splattered crescendo, or else some commoner will knock our fat asses off our golden seats. Who practices intelligence here? Not we. The Moes, Larrys, and Curlys, now in the White House bunker. 2. What's one more journey? Should I play dead and tell the police when they get here it was only a joke? I cried. I cried. Watch gray feathers etched in red. 3. Anxiety does not believe in social distancing. Open your eyes. Your angel has left for another Zoom call. Why don't you fuck him already and get it over with? And don't forget your masks, with or without the ball and chain. 4. Memories I can't undo. Words I cannot write. Tombstone hung around our necks. 5. This is the freak show. This is the freak show.
Here is the freak show.
Here, thank you. Here is the freak show, the ringside attraction. But I do not remember love. That is your cento. Thank you all so much for reading. That was really a lovely open mic.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Richard.
I have to tell you,
Ralph and Dwayne.
I was on
Thank you, everybody.
from 11:30 until like almost 4:30, dealing with contract negotiations and other just like minutia of that just exploded my brain. And this really I needed this. So I thank you.
Didn't we
Fun.
all?
Thank you.
Yes.
I feel
We
much
all
better now.
needed this.
Yeah,
I feel much better now.
I'm so depressed with what's going on in news and everything. And this, I love the Centos. This really brings my spirits up.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I will send around, I mean, I will send around, like I said, I'm going to give some thought to how we might continue to do first Tuesdays in July and August. It'll be different than the usual, just because I can use the break. But I'm going to give some thought to that. I will send it around. And then as soon as we are able to go back to like gathering, unfortunately, those of you who are not local, this won't be possible, but I want to, we have not had a First Tuesdays luncheon now in a very long time. And so once we are able to go, to go to restaurants and all, I will send around a notice and we'll meet at the Jackson Diner for an afternoon, eat and have Indian food and hang out. So it was really lovely to see you all. Be safe, be healthy.
Me too.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Great features. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Thank you, readers.
You, Ralph. I'll talk to you.
Readers were great.
Thank you.
Dwayne, you're muted.
This is the cover of
Pleasure.
Patricia's book that I just read.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's Patricia's.
Hi, John.
Come read in another season. Dwayne, you were muted. You were saying something.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers.
You were great.
Cheers. Cheers all.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
And David, thank you again.
Of course. Of course. I'm always happy to help.
It really is. It's a lovely thing.
Great.
So I'm just
Take
waiting
care.
for everybody to log out, and then I will
Yeah.
end the meeting. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
It was a pleasure.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to leave.
Bye-bye.
Who's going to be the last one left?
Robert, it was nice to see you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
Patricia, good night.
Good night. Better go.